There is always a light. When we are ready to see it, there is always a light. When we are ready to be it, to see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will. There is always a light
in the dark.
when we are ready to see it. There is always a light
in the dark.
when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will.
There is always light. There is always light.
We are ready to see it.
There is always light.
We are ready to be it.
To see the light, to be the light, to shine. Climb this hill, we know we will. There is always light. There is always light.
We are ready to see it.
There is always light. There is always light. To see the light, to be the light, to shine.
There is always a light when we are ready to be it, to see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will. There is always a light
in the dark.
when we are ready to see it. There is always a light
in the dark.
when we are ready to be it, to see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will.
There is always light. There is always light.
We are ready to see it.
There is always light. There is always light.
We are ready to be it,
To see the light, to be the light, to shine. Climb this hill, we know we will. There is always light. There is always light.
We are ready to see it.
There is always light. There is always light. To see the light, to be the light, to shine.
Why he will not be with us today. Our thoughts and prayers are with Stephen and his family as he grieves. He's in Georgia with them. But fortunately for us, we do have Richard McLeod, who has willingly stepped in to take over this service and also help us with the blessing of the animals, which will take place at 3 p.m. on the Haywood Street lawn. And I do not believe it's going to rain according to the weather. By 3 p.m., all the rain is going to be gone. So if you've never come to that, I encourage you to drop by and see what that's all about. Thank you.
Good morning. We invite you to take your seats and prepare for this morning's service, and it looks like everyone has. On behalf of the worship committee, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. I am your service leader, Andy Wells. Our minister is Reverend Stephen Robinson. Today we have a special guest speaker, our own Dr. Richard McLeod. Stay connected with our community by keeping an eye on the following communications. Recurring events are included in the calendar with your order of service, but special events are also coming up. We provide an email newsletter every Thursday to keep you informed about these upcoming events. Make sure we have your email address. Listen to any special announcements from our worship committee at the end of today's service, as they often share important news that you won't want to miss. We warmly welcome families with children and offer childcare during our service for infants and children up to 4 years old. We have a designated seating area in the sanctuary for children ages 4 to 7 and their parents or caregivers. Feel free to bring the toys available in the back of the social hall for quiet play. Today, children will remain in the service with their parents or caregivers. Please silence all devices as we center ourselves on today's service and listen to the prelude.
Morning, everybody. I want you to know that I had been scheduled to do the music for this service a while back, so it's not like I'm trying to take over the entire day for the church. If you want to call this the Andy and Richard show today, that might work. But we're especially glad to have with us Betsy Seamers, who is a friend of mine for a while now. We have done lots of music together at Shepherd Center, at Beth Shalom, and I love doing stuff with her because she is a great soprano. So we're going to do a piece that you've all heard of that relates to the themes of the day. What a wonderful world.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you both. That's one of my favorite songs, and that was beautiful. It was beautiful. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in the congregational covenant in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. Our community is founded on deeds, not creeds. We are a covenantal religion, meaning we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same. With respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. We place love at the center of our values, embracing and welcoming all peoples. We're delighted to welcome all our guests and visitors. Today, Alan Sutherland is assisting with bringing the microphone to our visitors. If you are willing and able, please stand and wait for the microphone to reach you. Then share your name and where you're from. If you've brought guests, we invite you to introduce them as well.
I am Tricia Rickenbaker. I live in Cameron, South Carolina, which is where I grew up, but I've been a gypsy for most of my adult life. I won't bother you with all the different lists, but it's wonderful to be here.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Bill Minikevich. I live in Sandy Run in Calhoun County on a 60-acre unkept farm. And I'm retired, had a career in public health. And I was actually a member of this congregation in the 1980s. And I've been away since. I came last year one time. It's hard to get away because my wife is a Roman Catholic, and usually she drags me to 9 o'clock Mass, and it's just too late to get over here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Taylor Bryant. I live here in Columbia, and I'm from just south of Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank you guys for having me.
Good morning, I'm Craig Cox. I am a local resident, been here about 16 years now. I'm an engineer, I work down at Westinghouse, and this is my first time here. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Visitors, if you'd like to learn more about UUCC, visitor cards are in the pocket on the back of each chair. Please fill one out and place it in the collection plate so we can email you about our events. Our board members and committee chairs welcome your questions and comments. Board members wear green name tags, and they also look more stressed than other members. Thank you for being here. Today's chalice lighter is nepotism, Cadence and Ellie Wells, who joined us in 2014 and 2017, and that is their birth years. They participate in religious education in the community here at the UUCC. They also participate in eating all of the food after the service. Spirit of light and life, come unto us.
Our opening hymn this morning is number 175. We celebrate the web of life. It again goes with our theme of the day. 175, please stand.
Celebrate the web of life is happy to be saved.
opening words this morning, you see in your order of service, you probably recognize the names. James Herriot is an author that has written lots of stuff animal related. He particularly wrote the book and the script for All Creatures Great and Small, if you've seen that whole series on NPR. Anyhow, it's good if you want to watch it. So I have a little story from that as the opening words. A young James Herriot, a veterinarian, pulls his Austin 7 car down a long rutted drive, the last of his rounds for the day. He's been called to the remote farm of Mr. Dinsdale, a man known for his taciturn nature and his solitary life. The call was for an old collie named Sweep, whose front leg has a deep gash in the form of some animal and farm machinery. Inside the quiet, sparse farmhouse, the old man looks on anxiously as Harriet examines the dog. The farmer rarely speaks, but his hands, calloused and gnarled from a lifetime of labor, hover near the dog's head, stroking its matted fur. Harriet gets to work, cleaning the wound and stitching it up with the dog's patient, tired, panting being the only sound. As Harriet picks up his bag, he notices the simple, almost austere life the old man leads. There are only a few pictures on the mantel. No radio, just the sound of the wind whistling through the eaves. He sees the bond between the quiet farmer and the aging collie in the way the old man's hand instinctively rests on the dog's head. The animal, his eyes never leaving the master. The old man finally speaks, his voice in a low rumble. He's all I've got, you know. He doesn't need to say more. Harriet understands that the value of the animal isn't just in its labor of herding sheep and guarding the yard. The dog is a companion, a confidant, a presence that fills the most vast silence of a lonely life. For the vet, the scene is not just a medical procedure, but a quiet testimony to a profound and unspoken love.
And now we invite the children to come forward for a story of all ages with Kate Noel Wells. I promise this wasn't planned out like this.
There are more kids. I was like, my kids have already heard this. Good morning, everyone. I am Kate Noel Wells. I go by Kate Noel, and I'm really, really excited to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to read this book that some of you have heard about by now. My only disappointment today is that we don't get to hear Reverend Stephen read it. I was looking forward to that, so I'm sure I share the sentiment of everybody here and sending our love to Stephen and Michelle and their family in this hard time. Oh, yay, more friends. Come on down. Oh, friend, we'll take it. Welcome. I think one thing I have forgotten to tell you guys when I have mentioned this book before is that, as it says here on one of the opening pages, 10% of all my proceeds are being donated to animal charities. That's starting with Final Victory Animal Rescue. So not only is this story about animals, but it is hopefully going to go in support of animals who I feel like give so much to us. All right, without further ado, this story is called Fortino the Fetching Dog. Every afternoon, Fortino's new owner, Madame Violette, brought him to the park. My, what a fetching dog, her friends would say. But Fortino could not fetch. He watched the other dogs chase tennis balls. The ball would whoosh through the air and they would zoom after it. Whoever got to the ball first would grab it between their teeth and carry it back in their mouth. Every one of these dogs could fetch. Sure, Maxine was easily distracted, and Loki seemed to prefer chasing his own tail, but still they all could fetch. Poor Fortino was just too small. No matter how hard he tried and how wide he opened his mouth, he simply could not get his teeth around a tennis ball. And if he could not grab a tennis ball, he could not fetch. That's why it felt embarrassing, in fact, utterly humiliating, when humans in the park would exclaim, "What a fetching dog!" Fortino's cheeks would grow hot, and he'd feel himself turning as red as his beret. To hide his embarrassment, Fortino became as loud and surly as a Chihuahua can get. Small as a bunny, but fierce as a tiger, Fortino was a sight to behold. But he wasn't a bunny or a tiger. He was a Chihuahua who could not fetch. Yap, 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 he'd wail, until Madame Violette would have to take him home. "Why do you do that, Fortino?" she'd ask, stroking him gently. Every day they'd visit the park, and it would go well for a day or two at a time. But every few days, someone would see Fortino and exclaim, "What a fetching dog!" And it would start all over again. Yap, yap, yap! Madame Violette would have to leave her friends, scoop Fortino up, and carry him out of the park. "Fortino," she'd scold, looking more sad than angry. Madame Violette did not give up or stop taking Fortino to the park, but she couldn't understand what the problem was. After all, Fortino was such a sweet dog, most of the time. He snuggled up to her on the couch while she read. He waited patiently by the door in the morning to be let out into the yard. But in the park, he seemed like an entirely different dog. Because of his yapping, the other dogs in the park thought Fortino was unfriendly and stayed away from him. So Fortino was lonely. He saw Madame Violette chatting happily with her friends. He wished he had a friend. One day, a boy brought a launcher that hurled the tennis balls farther than ever before. The dogs raced to be the first one to capture the tennis ball and bring it back. That is, every dog except Fortino. He wandered along the fence at the far side of the park, watching the others chase the ball. The ball whizzed through the air. The pack took off, scrambling to get to it first. Maxine the Mastiff pounced on the ball and danced around in delight. In her excitement, Maxine, who was very big and strong, accidentally bit the ball in half. Maxine looked as deflated as the ball when she dropped the lump of felt and rubber at the boy's feet. Tails stopped wagging. The park went quiet. The game was ruined. "Oh, that's all right, buddy," the boy smiled, rubbing Maxine's big head. "Look, I brought a disc too." Fun fact, frisbee is a copyrighted term. My editor let me know. And he pulled something round and flat out of his backpack and flung it in the air. It flew flat as a pancake and landed by Fortino. The dogs just stared, having never seen anything like this before. Since the strange flying object was lying right beside him, Fortino scooped it up in his mouth. It didn't taste like a pancake, and the boy probably wanted it back, so Fortino trotted across the park to return it. He laid it at the boy's feet and was turning around when the boy exclaimed, "Hey, he can fetch!" Feeling hurt, Fortino was about to start yapping when he realized the human hadn't said fetching. He said Fortino could fetch. But Fortino couldn't fetch, could he? What do you think? As Fortino thought about what had just happened, he felt his tail start to wag. "I can fetch," he thought, and jumped up and down with delight. The boy threw the disc again. This time the other dogs ran after it. Fortino ran after them. His legs were shorter. Loki got to it first and scooped it up. When he saw Fortino bounding toward him, he froze, dropping the disc. Fortino stopped to give Loki a tail wag and his sweetest smile. Soon Loki's own tail started wagging. Loki grabbed the disc and ran back to the boy. The dogs played fetch with the disc all afternoon. Fortino ran with the pack, having the time of his life. Sometimes the other dogs even let him scoop up the disc and carry it back. He may have been the smallest dog there, but he felt as tall and confident as a lion. After that, things were different in the park. Fortino realized the other dogs liked him just fine. Maybe they always had. They still often played with tennis balls, but Fortino was no longer bothered by it. He'd run along with the pack even if he couldn't be the one to fetch the ball, and he was no longer embarrassed by what humans said about him. After all, he really was quite fetching. The end.
Thank you. If you have a personal joy, sorrow, or concern to share from the pulpit, please email or text our minister by noon on Friday. You can also pick up a candle in the foyer before the service to share in person. We'd like to let everyone know that we have an active caring committee whose members wear yellow name tags and are available for those in need. If you have a candle, please come forward to share your joy or concern.
Good morning, my name is Melody Smith. How's everyone this morning? Good. It's a little dark outside, but it doesn't have to be in here. Shin Buddhists don't believe in duality, which means I don't believe that we can appreciate lightness without darkness. And there's a lot of darkness, I think, that we're all carrying around right now. It's tough out there. But I'm beginning to realize that all that darkness really highlights all the things that I'm grateful for. And so I had to pare those down for you this morning so that I can share a few of the things that I'm grateful for. This is a candle of gratitude. First of all, I want to thank the Building and Grounds Committee. Pat Moore came to me a month ago and said, "Can we clean up the storage room?" And I was like, "Are you kidding? Go for it." And so they did that. And so honorable mention goes to Linda McLeod and Bill Dolly for the gorgeous shelves that Bill built, and Linda organized everything else in the storage room. So if you haven't been in there to look, go in and ooh and ah, and then give those two people a big hug and give Pat Moore a hug too. Linda? And Patty Drews helped with that as well. So grateful for that. Thank you so very much. It's so nice and easy to work in there, and it's just beautiful. Secondly, yesterday we had the Skuja event here, and our volunteer list was short yesterday, but I want to let you all know that a couple of people threw in and really made my life a lot easier. Ryan Kern, my buddy over here with the big smile on his face. Kate Heald helped a great deal as well. And so it's just nice when many hands make light work. I really appreciate all of that assistance, and I just feel so grateful for that as well. And last but not least, yes, clap for that. Yeah. Last but not least, when we heard the sadness of Reverend Stephen's mother passing, we knew that he wouldn't be here. But out of the greatness and the enormity of his heart, Mr. Richard McLeod stepped up to make this day what it should be. And so I think we all need to have that gratitude in our heart for all the work that he's doing after he's had a medical event and all those kinds of things, he's still here to do this. I just think that's such a loving and lovely thing for him to do, and what a gift it is to Reverend Stephen for that to have been taken off of his shoulders. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kevin, and I want to light a candle also reflective of the Skooja Fall Festival, which took place here yesterday. As Melody said, there's a lot of darkness. Yesterday was a light in the darkness, and in the immortal words of the OJs, if you missed it, I feel sorry for you. Because it was great. You should have been here. But there will be next year, God willing. So come on next year. And don't forget to bring your kids. The kids for me were the highlight yesterday. I got to play Old McDonald's Farm and sing with them. And I've got to say, I've never enjoyed Old McDonald's Farm so much in 70 years, not even when I was their age. So that was great. I do want to, this is profoundly a candle of gratitude. And I've got to say, Melody kind of scanded her own role yesterday, because not only did she work tirelessly all day in the kitchen, yes, with Ryan, shout out to Ryan, but she, and oh yeah, the aforementioned Ryan, also helped us to put up the big tent that's out there, which we're going to use for the blessing of the animals. It was quite a large cast of folks who did something or other at some point, far too many to work. Certainly it includes Bill, who worked very hard. He was the mastermind in helping me figure out how the heck all those pieces went together, because the last thing we found, of course, was the instructions. But we did figure it out, as you can see. And one last personal gratitude. My dear wife, Connie Quirk, did not make me come in with her every single day as she performed what is essentially a fall cleaning for the entire campus, especially the CYRE wing. I'm very grateful, not only because she didn't make me come in every day, but because she did it. So, but she had help. There were other people, I just can't mention them all, or this would be even longer than it already is. So, gratitude.
This is a two-part candle. First part is October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. If you have a partner and you have a disagreement, you settle it with words, not with hands. You don't raise an angry hand to your partner regardless of gender. Second part is my condolences go out to the victims of the shooting of the LDS church. I think it was in Grand Blanc, Michigan last Sunday. There was a shooting and a fire, and this is for them.
I'm Yolanda Ganong. This is a candle of gratitude because Milo, Barry, and the boys have made it to Scotland safely, and so far everything is going well. Barry's back in his homeland, and Milo is struck by the beauty of the place. So I'm very grateful that they're safe in more ways than one.
This is in honor of October 1st. My big sister turned 74, and it also marked the passing of Jane Goodall, who taught so much to all of us about not only wildlife and chimpanzees, but how to look at nature and and care for our world. So, in honor of Jane.
And finally, we light one candle for all our unspoken joys and concerns. That was a rookie move, not picking that up before the candles were there. Okay. Let us pause to ponder these joys and concerns. This congregation proudly participates in our Michael Sullivan Share the Plate initiative, where half of our monthly cash collection is donated to a local charity. It's our way of giving back and supporting our community. Our recipient for the month of October is Cotton Branch Farms Sanctuary. If you'd like to contribute to Share the Plate, please write Share the Plate in the memo line of your check or on your donation envelope. And thank you for your generosity. Would the ushers, oh, sorry, that's your line first.
For our offertory today, we're going to do a piece that you'll all recognize. Betsy and I are going to go back and forth on this and hope I don't miss my cues, Betsy. But it's a piece called Talk to the Animals. It's from a whole movie called Dr. Dolittle. You probably all heard it. Written by a guy named Leslie Breckus, who's an English composer. We give him lots of thanks for this. So, Talk to the Animals.
And would the ushers please come forward for this morning's offering?
If we could talk to the animals, just imagine it, chatting to a chimp in chimpanzee.
Imagine talking to a tiger, chatting with a cheetah. What a neat achievement that would be.
If we could talk to the animals, we could learn their languages and maybe even take an animal degree.
We'd study elephant and eagle, buffalo and beagle, alligator, guinea pig, and flea.
We would converse in polar bear and python.
And we would curse in fluent kangaroo.
If people asked us, excuse me, but can you speak rhinoceros?
We'd say, of course, Eris. Can't you?
If we conferred with our furry friends, man to animal.
Think of the amazing repartee.
If we could walk with the animals,
talk with the animals,
grunt and squeak and squawk with the animals. And they could squeak and squawk and speak and talk to us. If we could talk to the animals, think what fun we'd have asking over crocodiles for tea.
Or maybe lunch with several lions, walruses and sea lions. What a lovely place the world would be.
If we spoke slang to orangutans, oh, the advantages any fool on earth could plainly see.
Discussing Eastern art and dramas with intellectual llamas. That's a big advantage, you'd agree.
We'd learn to speak in antelope and turtle.
My Pekingese would be extremely good.
If I were asked to sing in hippopotamus,
I'd say, why not us? And I would.
Stop and think of it. There's no doubt of it.
I could win a place in history.
If we could walk with the animals,
talk with the animals,
grunt and squeak and squawk with the animals. And they could squeak and squawk and speak and talk to us.
Thank you for these gifts. We appreciate your sincerity and generosity. In every community and organization, there's always those pillars of a group. And those pillars are the individuals who are multi-talented. They hit every aspect of a group. They are the pillars and the foundation of an organization. And I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Richard McLeod, who is exactly that kind of individual. You've already seen one of his talents here in the piano and singing, but he is also a very accomplished speaker, especially in our own community, having done multiple different sermons. He is the definition of a pinch hitter who is there whenever our community needs him most. I'd like to introduce Dr. Richard McLeod.
Yeah, thank you. Andy, you know, when you get introduced as a speaker, if they say, you know, some kind of praiseful things, and you say, wait, is that me? And then you have to think, wow, my gosh, I got to live up to that. So anyhow, there's no way you can live up with Reverend Stephen. You know, he's been with our congregation for quite a while now, and he's become very dear to all of us. And we are so sad to hear about the deaths in his family. But he will be back with us soon. This talk today centers around the theme of the day, which has to do with animals because of our blessing of the animals this afternoon, which I hope you all will come. It's going to be quite a fun event. I titled this talk, Animals Are Us, because by classification, we are animals. You remember your biology lessons that discuss the hierarchy of living things? Domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Don't ask me to repeat it. I don't get any deeper than that. I get lost. But in our domain, there are more living creatures than you can imagine, and there's more of them being discovered all the time. We're talking about all living creatures. So I've divided this talk into several different sections, and the first one is about animals such as us and how they are like us. One way to talk about that is a discussion of our own physiology, about our comparative DNA, for example. Genes of chimpanzees are a 98.6% match with us. By the way, and I think this has been mentioned, but Jane Goodall, who worked with chimpanzees for most of her life, she just died this week at age 91. So anyhow, down the line, monkeys are a 93% match, cats 90%, dogs 80 to 90%, depending, cows 80%, mice 70 to 80%, chickens 60%. And here's a fun statistic I threw in, no extra charge. The gene similarity between humans and bananas is 60%. Think about instances in your life where you've thought, I'm going to bananas today. DNA chains, of course, are the building blocks of life, defining the genetic codes for each life form. Now, let me direct a little into how we are different from other animals and from living things in general. And let me start by asking you this question. As a human, how do you experience the world around you? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you taste? What do you smell? And beyond that, what other senses can there be? Can you even imagine? Well, moving on. For the next little while, I'll be talking about how other living things are different from us. What could that be, you politely asked? Well, thank you for asking. Namely, they have senses that we don't have. Really, you ask? What could they be? I was watching a spider on a web here a few summers ago. He was making this very intricate and artistic zigzag design. I asked Professor John Logue, who's probably here somewhere, I called him and said, John, what is this? And I sent him a picture of it. He told me it was an orb weaver, a writing spider. Now imagine constructing that web by that spider, constructing it, writing on it, and knowing how to walk on the unsticky parts. Pretty smart spider, right? I bet you couldn't do that. Now, combined with how they communicate with each other, here's a few examples of talents, traits, and senses that we are in wonder of as humans. Schools of fish, for example. I remember being underwater in a submarine-like container near the Great Barrier Reef. Linda and I were looking through a heavy glass window and watching the fish. I mean, there were hundreds, thousands of fishes, all sizes, in schools, swimming in perfect formation, up, down, left, right, sudden turns, millimeters apart. It was amazing. And you think, how do they do that? It's the same with flocks of birds. You watch the sky, and you see them travel in choreographed amazement, dancing in the sky. How do they do that without running into each other? They must be communicating somehow. Swallows in a swirling mass returning to Capistrano. How do they know where Capistrano is and not get lost over Albuquerque? I mean, what about butterflies migrating to Mexico? What about homing pigeons? How do geese fly in a V formation? How do they connect somehow and give each other directions? What about other living things? Plants, vegetables, flowers, do they communicate? Now here's a biggie. What about ants? Did you ever watch an ant colony? Did you ever try to listen carefully, put your ear to the ground, listen carefully, and hoping that you could hear them say something, hoping they speak English, and could hear them talk to each other? Ever think about that? They'd be saying, tote that dirt, lift that grass, I got a date with the queen tonight. Do you suppose they could one day take over the world? Can you imagine an agenda of the Executive Committee of Ants International talking about, what shall we do with these humans? They're getting to be a nuisance. Well, did you know that ants, it's estimated, they outnumber us 1 million to 1, and that the total weight of those tiny creatures is as much or more than the total weight of all humans? I have no idea. What do you think, John? Did you help calculate that? Have you ever spent time with your dog or your cat or other pet and sensed that you had some sort of connection with them? A bond, a relationship, a shared emotion, a sense of danger, for example. I'm sure you've noticed a major difference between cats and dogs. Dogs come when they're called. Cats say, take a message and I'll get back to you. Wish I'd said that. I've always been intrigued with the Gaia hypothesis, the Gaia theory. That's the concept that our planet is one living organism, and that all is connected, a self-regulating system that maintains conditions favorable for life. I personally think that all those life forms are connected. I suspect that there is a chemical, electrical, psychological, something almost definable, a connection among all living things, some sort of spirit, some extra sensory perception, something that's beyond our human brains that we just cannot understand. This thinking about connectedness, or any of these other mysteries I just described, is something that as we think about it, it expands our consciousness. It makes us profoundly appreciate the wonders of the universe in the midst of those mysteries. Remember this story, Star Wars, about Han Solo talking to Luke Skywalker saying, "May the Force be with you"? Not really knowing what the Force was, I suppose. I think he means that there was something out there, a force that's with us, but whatever it might be, we really can't define it. And here's another thought about connectedness. What about premonitions, coincidences? Do you ever have a premonition that somebody died, or was in an accident, or was coming to visit you and it turned out to be true? Could that be a sense that's not quite developed in some people, and some have more than others? We call it a premonition, maybe a communication from someone or something. Now I'm going to take a left turn here and talk about something a little different. Are we the dominant species? So this is a little turn, but it's still in the same lane. Here's a somewhat radical but reasonable argument for you. Homo sapiens fill this room today. Now, don't look around just to make sure. Homo sapiens, humans, are not NOT, the most advanced, the most evolved life forms on this earth. Perhaps we're not the dominant species, we just think we are. My position goes like this. How many senses do you have? 5. Are there creatures that have more? Seems like it. We humans are sentient beings who have to take time to think and to reason out everything we do. Yet there are other life forms that have all that mastered and do what they do automatically, instinctively. Sure, we have a subconscious brain, an animal brain, a lizard brain, if you will, but I don't want to go there now. That's another complex story. Most of us are convinced that man is the dominant species and that we control everything. Then we wise up and realize that we have control over nothing. Certainly not the weather, certainly not much of the animal kingdom down to the ants and things like bacteria. And we realize that the outcomes of our lives, the basis upon which we make what we think are our own choices, are kind of beyond our control. And here's a scary thought. Believe that we are the dominant species and ask yourself, how long might we remain that way? Dinosaurs had it for lots of years. They lost it about 66 million years ago. And now, since the days of Homo habilis about 6 million years ago, some form of us humans, by our own definition, have dominated, so we say. What will come next? Some scary thoughts. Likely candidates are octopuses, crows, ants, and cockroaches. Want to place a bet on which is which and which comes next? I had planned to live my retirement in an intellectual comfort that didn't require overworking my brain. I think about other things. I had enough education and experience to keep me floating after I retired, I was hoping. But now I'm in this wannabe scientist mode, this mad wannabe biologist about making life forms communicate and understand how they do. We are fortunate in these days of more knowledge, more light, more discoveries, and though we hope these discoveries solve all our mysteries, they really don't. They only open up more. They allow us to see much further into these hidden things we may never understand, but we keep trying to. Unitarians, right? We keep asking what, who, when, how, well, why. What, who, when, how, where, why. So what do I want you to take away from this? I'm suspecting that another sense, a sixth sense, for example, would have to do with all life being connected, that we may stem from the same spark. This single-celled organism from millions of years ago, whatever the origin of life you may personally believe. Maybe all lives and living things have that special connection that we all share, because we all share the same planet. And that it's possible that we communicate in ways that we will never understand. My goal here today was to leave you with more questions than answered. More questions than answers. And I hope I've succeeded. So please, take away from this talk a number of things, but one major thing, and apply these to the values of Unitarian Universalism that you will find on the back of your order of service. It's the value of interdependence. We honor the independent web of existence, the interdependent web of existence. With reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. May you live long and prosper. May you go in love. May you go in peace. Amen. Our closing hymn is here somewhere. Yeah, I know what it is. I have the music for it. Okay. It's number 175. It's not this one. It's not this one. It's not this one. It's not this one. Aha, I found it. 175, right? Okay, 134. Wait a minute. 134, really? We got this backwards, didn't we? Did I do this wrong? That takes away any value that just got from what I said. I think I've lost my credibility. Anyhow, hymn number 134, Our World is One World. Please stand. McLeod, Won't stay seated for long, but I just wanted to say again about how much Reverend Stephen is in our thoughts and prayers. They are today on their way back from Atlanta, and we will be seeing them very soon this week. Our closing words are just a short piece of closing words. It's a quote from Mark Twain, and you know it's from Mark Twain. It's going to be very profound and a little bit humorous, and a little cynical, I suppose, but this is Mark Twain. He said, "The more I know about people, the more I like my dog."
As we extinguish our challenge, may the light continue to burn within us to shine light on those who are currently overwhelmed by darkness. And now please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our congregational benediction. Yeah, please have a seat just for these one brief announcement. I know. From our Share the Plate coordinator, Nancy Shillington Perez, on behalf of the Michael Sullivan Share the Plate Committee, if you submitted your nominations this year for 2026, the committee thanks you for your participation. No doubt most of you, actually I'm sure all of you, have read your e-blast this past Thursday, and perhaps many of you already voted for your choice among the final candidates for the 2026 recipients. If not, you would help us out tremendously. If you would take out your phones right now, which are on Do Not Disturb, find the last Thursday's e-blast, scroll down to the image of the voting box, and submit your ballot. There's information on all of the candidates on the easel and on the table in the entry area should anyone need it. If voting online is not feasible, use the paper ballot you have today's order of service and vote for up to 11 candidates in each of the pre-selected categories. Place your ballot in the white box on the table in the entry area today, the only day you will receive a paper ballot. At least twice a month, you hear about the remarkable differences our contributions make in the lives of so many in the greater Columbia area through the Michael Sullivan Share the Plate program. Today and through October 26th, for those who are not present, you have the opportunity to have your voice heard. Please exercise that right. And then from the animal ministry, don't forget our blessing of the animals today at 3 p.m., rain or shine. Thank you again, visitors, for joining us today. We hope that you will be able to stick around so we can get to know you better. Our time has come to a close, but before you leave, for the rest of us, please take a few minutes to welcome our visitors and greet those around you. And we'll see you next week.
And let me tell you about the postlude. It says we're going to do a postlude here, and it's kind of a surprise. The service is actually over, so you can start leaving, but I'm going to play this in the background. It's just a little medley. This got a lot of stuff about our animal friends. So thank you for attending and listening today. Dog went a courting and he did ride, Dog went a courting and he did ride with a sword and pistol by his side. He rode up to Miss Mousie's door, Rode up to Miss Mousie's door, Well, I said, Arbor Ducky, you're the one that I'm so much for.